Louisiana, where we are a committed church to providing worship and prayer and an atmosphere of love and joy. And we thank God that God has afforded us the opportunity to minister to you through this virtual worship experience. And so right now, we're going to get right into the message. We don't have the other portions of our worship experience taking place right now. And so we're going to get right into this message. And on today, wherever you are and whatever you have, I'm going to ask you and invite you to come with me to the Gospel of Mark. I want you to come with me to the Gospel of Mark. Meet me in Mark, the 5th chapter, and I'm going to commence reading at verse 21. Again, Mark chapter 5, the Gospel of Mark, the second Gospel in its chronological order in Scripture. And come with me to chapter 5 of Mark's Gospel. And if you would meet me starting with verse 21. Here's what Mark chapter 5, verse 21 says. It says in the New International Version of God's Word, "When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, saying, 'My little daughter is dying. Please come, put your hands on her, so that she will be healed and live.' So Jesus went with him. But then it says, a large crowd followed and pressed around him." Jesus went with him, but a large crowd followed and pressed around him. And on today, I simply want to preach from this subject in this season of uncertainty and in this season of this coronavirus. I want to preach from the subject, divine interruptions. Divine interruptions.
Amen.
One of my favorite love stories, and I can admit as a man that I have movies that I enjoy that are in the category of romance. And one of my favorite movies that came out in the early 90s is entitled The Cutting Edge. And in this movie, The Cutting Edge, it was a wonderful story, a hilarious story really, of two people whose lives collided, were on a collision course, and whose lives were unexpectedly interrupted by one another. Little did they know that their lives would change forever as a result of their intersection and as a result of their lives being interrupted by each other. And so in the story, you have on the one hand a figure skater, this champion figure skater who she had won national championships. She had been considered an expert skater. She was renowned for her expertise and her grace and her artistry in figure skating. And yet she got into a slump. She had some bad performances, and she found herself without a skating partner who had moved on to skate with someone else, and she felt defeated, depressed, distressed, and down and discouraged and disheartened by her circumstance. And on the other hand, you had this hockey player who was an amateur star hockey player. He was in college. He was preparing himself to be drafted by the professional hockey league. And he found himself in the midst of showing his athletic prowess, in the midst of demonstrating how great he was at his sport. He ended up suffering an injury. Hockey players, one who was used to the battle and the combat of being on the ice with other men, with pucks, and with the physical, grueling, excruciating, rough and tough athletic sport of hockey, and he took this man who was used to this battle and this combat, and he took this lady who was used to gracefully skating with her partner, and their lives collided. And there's a beautiful story of how one man who was rough and tough and one woman who was soft and graceful, they were interrupted by one another. And by the end of the story, you find out that they fall in love because two people from opposite sides of the tracks, opposite sides of their existence, their lives intersected, and the interruption that they both experienced proved to alter the course of their life forever. And sometimes in this life, I've also learned that God will allow things to happen, that God will allow certain seasons and situations to occur in our lives for the purpose of getting our attention and altering the course of our lives. And in this season of coronavirus, this is exactly what I'm arguing that is taking place right now, that God is allowing the church, is allowing the world to be interrupted. He's allowing the stability of our economy and the stability of our democracy and the stability of our nation's systems and institutions, our school systems, our political system, our stock markets. All of these things have been altered all across the world because of the coronavirus. Little did we know that we really don't control anything. Right. That in this life, what this is teaching us is that sometimes God will periodically use interruptions to reveal to us that we manage a whole lot, but we don't control anything. Right. And sometimes God has to interrupt you and I. He has to interrupt our lives, interrupt what we're doing at school and what we're doing in our families, what we're doing in our churches, just to show us that we must learn to trust Him in circumstances that are beyond our control. And so when we zoom in on Scripture today, we find out that the Bible is littered with examples in which God interrupted what was taking place in order to get the attention of His people and to show them that they must turn their attention and their trust back to Him. You remember in Exodus 32 that Moses was spending time with God, and he was receiving the law and the instructions that he would then take back to the people of Israel, because God had called them out to be a special people and to be distinguished so that His glory could be displayed through them for the world to see. Yeah. And they decided to get impatient, and this is a dangerous thing when God is working and we get impatient with Him. And so Aaron, who was too weak to resist the temptation and the pressure that came from the people of God, he allowed them, when they complained and said, Moses is taking too long, I don't know what he's doing, he's with the Lord, but because he's taking so long, we need to go ahead and do things on our own. And so they took matters into their own hands. They built a golden calf and threw a party. And Moses comes back down the mountain to discover that God's people had now started a festival in honor of idolatrous worship, all because they were impatient and not willing to wait on a word from God. And God had to interrupt them by sending Moses down to provide correction. He observed the disgraceful sight of people who were dancing and laughing and joking and celebrating in front of an idol when the Lord their God had brought them out of Egypt. And so God interrupted their festival, interrupted their good time, interrupted their party, and He told them that anyone who was participating in this, they were going to be dealt with, and though they were going to have to deal with the severity of God's judgment, God also told them, and He also assured Moses that He would take a remnant and He would move forward and guide them in the way that they would have to go. Well, there's another occasion in Scripture where God interrupted what was taking place, because you remember the character Job in Scripture. Job lived, he was an upright man, he was blameless, and yet the Bible says that one day that he lost it all. He lost his children, he lost his health, he lost the confidence of his own wife, and he was down, he was sitting on his ash heap, he had boils all on his skin, and his friends had gathered around, and they began to ask questions and complain and criticize and speculate, and even Job himself got to the point where he was so frustrated with God that he began to question God and wonder why God would allow a man who was blameless and upright and who prayed for his family every day and who tried to do all that he could to live for God, why God would allow him to suffer. And his friends also thought there must be some secret secret sin that took place that we don't know about that would warrant Job's suffering. And yet, God interrupts them. He allows several chapters to take place where you hear the voices of Job and the voices of his friends. But when you get to Job chapter 38, God interrupts all of them. And he says, brace yourself like a man, Job. And I want to ask you some questions that you're going to have to answer to me. Where were you when I put the stars in the sky, and when I put the planets into orbit, and when I arranged the solar system and the galaxies? Where were you when in creation I created you and all of your family and gave reproductive life and put agriculture and positioned the atmosphere and put water in its place and put the sky in its place? Where were you when I did all of these things?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so God interrupted him to show him that you are not in control of anything, and therefore, because I'm sovereign, I can allow you to suffer because I'm the one who created you, and I won't allow you to suffer through anything that I will not sustain you through.
Amen.
And likewise, as we get right into this, we see another instance, church, friends, and family, where there's a divine interruption. Because there's a man, he's a well-known man, he's got religious and social credibility and clout. He's well respected in the community. He's the leader of the synagogue. He's the ruler. He's the leader. He was responsible for putting things together in the synagogue. And so he's well respected, he's well known. But his daughter gets sick, and he goes and finds Jesus, runs with great sense of urgency, and he shows up to ask if Jesus would come attend to his sick daughter who was on her deathbed. She was dying, but she had not passed yet. She was sick. And he asked with great sense of urgency, would Jesus come to be with him and his daughter? Jesus agrees and says that Jesus was headed to go with Jairus. But then as I read, it said a large crowd.
Yeah.
And likewise, when we look in our lives right now, what I've come to say on today is, what is God trying to teach us by allowing our lives to be interrupted by the coronavirus? What is it that the church of God, that the people of God, that the world can see the church doing in this season of sickness and affliction? What lessons can we learn? What's the message? What's our motivation to keep our faith? What reason do we have to keep our hope? And what can we learn from the fact that people all over the world have been impacted and affected by this virus? Well, when I look at the text today, we won't have to take too long, because when we look at this story, there's instruction, there's nuggets of wisdom, and there's a beautiful picture of what it looks like when we understand and learn to appreciate that sometimes God interrupts our lives. And so when I look at what Jesus did, Jesus had come from being on a boat with his disciples. He allowed the disciples to go through a storm, and he had to reassure them that I can sleep through the storm because I'm not going to be affected. I've already given you the promise. We're going to cross over. And so the disciples had to be calmed. They had to be comforted by Jesus. And so they experienced Jesus' comforting presence. And they get to the other side of the land, and there's a demoniac. There's a guy who is being possessed and influenced and consumed with a demonic spirit. And Jesus deals with him. And now we see Jesus dealing with this physical sickness. There's a man with a daughter who's sick. He comes up to Jesus. Jesus agrees to go, but he's interrupted by the crowd. And so what happens is, Jesus takes the time to take his time. And he allows himself to take time to deal with this crowd. Because in that crowd, there was a woman. She went unnoticed by the disciples, but Jesus noticed and Jesus felt, because Scripture says that this woman evidently had to crawl on her knees, and she reached out and reached for Jesus' garment, and Jesus felt power being released from him. And he looks around and says, who touched me? Who reached for me? And the disciples look bewildered and confused because they're wondering, why would Jesus ask this strange question? You see all these people around you, Jesus. What would make you think that any particular person, why are you worried about a single person grabbing you? There's a whole lot of people reaching out for you right now. But he said, no, there's one in particular, and I need to know who he or she is. Where's the person that just reached for me? Because power had been released from Jesus. And so, meanwhile, Jairus is standing there, watching Jesus minister to this woman after Jesus agreed that he would go with him. Have you ever felt like God allowed your life to be interrupted by something where you had prayed for something and God seemingly appeared to be working in someone else's life before he decided he would work in yours? Have you ever asked God for something and watched him give it to somebody else first?
Wow.
You ever asked God to bless your finances and watch him bless somebody else's finances, and you have to still go home with instability in your finances? You ever asked God to heal your body and you watch him heal somebody else's body, and yet you're still sick? You ever asked God to bless your marriage, bless your children, bless your career, bless your family, bless your situation, and you look around and he's blessing, he's delivering, he's helping, he's bringing progress and hope and possibility, and yet when you go back home, you have the same bills, same challenges, same hardships, same heartaches, same problems. Have you ever thought that God is allowing everyone around you to be blessed, and yet you're still waiting?
Yes.
That's where Jairus was.
Wow.
Yes.
That's where some of us are.
Yes.
We're waiting. We've been interrupted by something we cannot control, and we're waiting.
Yes.
And what can I learn when I'm waiting on God? That's the question. What can I learn when I'm waiting on God, when he's allowed something to interrupt my life, who's thrown my stability off, thrown my equilibrium off, he's allowed my life to be shuffled into pieces? What can we learn when we wait? Here's the first thing we can learn. We can learn that privilege does not eliminate human vulnerability. Privilege does not eliminate our vulnerability, because Jairus was privileged. Jairus was the synagogue ruler. Jairus was the man that everyone knew in the community. He was privileged. He could walk up to Jesus. This woman was crawling while Jairus was walking. And yet, with all his privilege, with all of his clout, with all of his affluence and influence in the community, Bible says that even his daughter still got sick.
Yes.
Well,
The fact that he was a synagogue ruler, we can read it too fast and gloss over the fact that she was sick in the first place. That being a synagogue ruler did not prevent him or his family from being affected by disease or by sickness. And can I tell someone who's listening and watching today that when you heard and when you continue to hear names being called, you're hearing athletes' names and coaches' names and actors' names. There's all sorts of famous people, rich and famous, wealthy celebrities, who have been affected by this just like others, whose names we do not know. And it's teaching us that in this life, so often, we assume that privilege eliminates vulnerability. But God is speaking to us to remind us that whatever we have in this life, we ought to be grateful for it.
right.
Because in a heartbeat, in a moment's notice, everything in life can be flipped upside down. Because privilege does not eliminate our vulnerability. But you know what else was interesting to me about this that can help us while we're waiting on God and while we're trusting in God? I think the world needs to know, and the church needs to be reminded, that we must remind the world and ourselves that a person's status should not negate their value.
Wow.
Because again, in the season of coronavirus, we're having discussions about who should get tested and how many should get it and how fast we all get it. And there's been discrepancies and there's been disputes love first, but he had to watch and wait because Jesus understood status with value. But I've come to tell you that God values your life and mine just like he values anyone else's. And this virus is teaching us not only that we're vulnerable, but that all lives should have value.
Amen.
But when I look finally at the story, and we're almost done, we discover that if you're going to be vulnerable and if you're going to be affirmed in the Lord with value, we also can have victory. And here's how I look at it. It takes bold faith to achieve victory. I'll say that again. It takes bold faith, audacious faith. It takes strong faith to get through times like these. And in our story, we see that this woman, when you look at her story, she was not supposed to even be in public. She was relegated to the margins of society. She was deemed ceremonially unclean, which meant that because she had a hemorrhage, because she had a flow of blood that went on for 12 years, because of her physical stench, because of her emotional shame, because of her psychological trauma, because of the fact that she was ritually unclean, was banned from coming to church, quarantined, had to be at a distance, and yet she took a risk. And she said, I've been to every doctor in town, I've not gotten better, I've gotten worse, I'm broke, I have no money, I have no health, I have no hope, I have no prospect or possibility of getting well, and rather than stay defeated and stay at home, she took a chance and said, I'm still going to try Jesus. And so she reached.
Yes, sir.
Some scholars say she was being superstitious.
Teach.
Some scholars suggest that she reached for Jesus' robe because she was superstitious. She thought that if I just touch his robe, then I'll be healed because there's special power in the hem of his garment. Well, even if that's true, the good news that I want you and I to celebrate today is that even if there was a hint of superstition that motivated her reach for his garment, there's still something worthy of shouting about, and that is, even if she only reached for his garment, she was still reaching for his garment. Somebody missed that at home. I said, even if she only reached because she thought the garment had power, she still reached in the right direction because the man wearing the robe is the one she reached for.
Good job. Preach.
So her faith was demonstrated in that she didn't let her quarantine prevent her from still believing.
Wow.
I'm not saying leave your home and go outside and not heed the guidelines of our government on the federal level and the state level and on the local level. I'm not saying that you don't adhere to social distancing. I'm saying just as this woman did not let her distance and her isolation prevent her from still believing in the possibility of healing if she reached for the right person, that you and I, even though we are at a distance, we're isolated, we're separated, we're keeping our distance from one another. But even in our distance, even though we're in the background, even though we can't come together like we want to, we still got to believe that God can heal. And you know, that's what Jairus had to learn. That Jairus was standing there watching a woman on her knees reach, not only with her hands, but with her faith. And so Jairus hears word, his daughter has passed. Now, Jesus had agreed to go to Jairus' house. He told him, I'm coming, let's go. But now, because of this interruption, because of this crowd and because of this woman, the little girl that Jairus deemed precious, his precious daughter, she dies. But in the story, Jesus says, just trust me.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I want to tell somebody out there who's listening. Trust God. Because Jairus got the chance to watch Jesus heal a woman who had been confined and quarantined for 12 years. She had been sick 12 years. His daughter was 12 years old.
Well,
A woman who had been sick as long as his daughter had been alive
wow.
is the woman that got healed first. And Jairus watched Jesus heal a woman who had been sick as long as his daughter had been alive. Only to show him that if I can heal somebody who's been sick as long as your daughter's been alive, then certainly I can deal with your daughter's condition.
Yes, sir.
So they got home, and they had mourners and people crying and wailing and fanning. You know how we do in church when we get worked up, we fan one another. And so you had people that really catch this who were so assuming and so determined that they were going to not believe in Jesus' power to raise her from the dead. She's dead. Why bother with it anymore? Let's just have the mourning and the funeral and let's get everybody together at the house so we can comfort Jairus. Jesus says, let's go to the back. None of these other people can come in, but trust me, she's just sleeping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because Jesus was showing Jairus that the same way that he could trust that when he went to bed at night, that he would wake up in the morning, is the same way he could trust that as this little girl lay dead in the bedroom, that Jesus has the power to raise her up again. So they get back there, and notice this, the woman had been living on the outskirts of town,
Right.
in the margins of society. She had been relegated to an invisible existence. No one ever noticed her, no one ever saw her, no one ever wanted her around. She was at a distance. Her miracle took place in public.
Yes.
But Jesus decided the man who lived a public life,
Yes.
his miracle would take place in private.
Talk.
Yes.
And so they closed the door. And only a handful of people, 3 disciples, Jesus, and Jairus, and the mother. And notice Scripture, go back and read it. Scripture says that Jairus was no longer the leader of the synagogue. Scripture says that the child's father and mother gathered with the disciples.
Wow.
Because when God is ready to work in your life, and when God is about to move in your life, and when God is about to shift things, and when God is going to give you deliverance and healing and anything else that you're dependent on, you can't depend on God and hold on to your significance. You can't depend on God and hold on to your titles, your affluence, your influence. When Jairus got in that back room, he was no longer ruler, he was father, and his wife was mother.
Yes, sir.
Because when you need God, you need all of him, and you got to rid yourself of who you think you are.
Right.
And right now, that's what's happening. That's all I've come to say. That coronavirus has interrupted our world to show us and remind us in the church to be a witness and a light, to let everyone know that sometimes God has to get our attention, not because God enjoys seeing people in pain, but that God will allow painful circumstances at times so that the church can be a witness to the reality that we must affirm our reliance and dependence on Him when we have situations beyond our control. Jairus was nothing more than a loving father in that bedroom. His title of synagogue ruler was no longer relevant when his daughter passed away.
Right.
What he did in the synagogue no longer mattered when his daughter lay dead on her bed. But it mattered that he himself in the presence of Jesus, and Jesus decided to heal his daughter. And on the day, I've come simply to say that God might be interrupting our lives just to remind us that as a church, as the people of God, we must be a witness to the world that we are in control of nothing, but that we can trust in a God who oversees everything. And if we depend on him, we can take from this that God is worthy of our trust. And can I share this with you before we go? This woman had victory before she experienced her healing.
Yes.
Because we already said the fact that she came out and reached for Jesus meant that she believed. Because he said, daughter, your faith has made you whole, has made you well. And Jairus, because he trusted Jesus, he had victory before the little girl ever sat up again, and before she ever opened her eyes, and before the breath re-entered her body. He had the victory before. And so what am I saying? You can have victory right now. Someone may be saying, Pastor, what if I lose someone in this season? What if someone does pass away? How do I get victory in the midst of death and discouragement? What I've come to say is, you can have victory not only in the earthly realm,
Yes, sir.
but our victory has to also stretch beyond where we are now to the eternal realm.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, our victory is in knowing where we'll be when we're no longer here.
Right.
So it's up to us today
Amen.
to decide to use a time of turmoil, and a time of conflict, a time of sadness and sickness and affliction and confusion and chaos. Can we use it to rededicate our lives, to reacclimate ourselves, recommit ourselves to the Lord, and decide that we're going to be living testimonies of what it looks like to trust God in turbulent times? And so, right now, I want to do something very important, the most important thing we can do, and that is invite you to give your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. If you're watching, if you're listening right now, and you do not know the Lord in a personal way, it's really simple. All it takes is belief, trust, and faith that Jesus lived, and that he died, but that he was raised from the dead, and that he ascended into heaven. And one day he's going to return as the reigning Redeemer of all of humanity forever and ever. If you can believe that, then you are saved right now. And so I'm going to pray right now and ask that those who are watching and that those who need this prayer, that you would repeat after me. Lord, I'm a sinner, and Lord, I need you to come into my life. Lord, I acknowledge I haven't always done things the right way. But God, I need you. And so I put my faith in your Son, Jesus Christ. I believe that he lived. I believe that he died. And I believe that Jesus was raised from the dead. And if you put your life in the Lord's hands, then right now you can celebrate salvation. You can celebrate that whatever happens during this outbreak, that you are secure. Your soul, your spirit is secure with the Lord. I thank you so much for spending this time with us in this virtual worship experience. I want to remind all of those who are friends and family of our great family of faith here at the New Sunlight Baptist Church in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where we're located at 515 B Washington Avenue, that we want you to keep your faith. We want you to stay engaged. Know that I'll be doing Bible study at 6:30 on Wednesday. We'll go live Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. this week for Bible study, and we'll also stay updated. We'll keep us all connected so that the life of our church and our ministries and our leadership and our membership can stay in